Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today we're at Jimmy Garage Ford here in Stonewall, Louisiana, and this is the 2021 Ford F-150 Shelby Super Snake. The really kind of Ford's response to the RAM TRX. Has a lot more horsepower, maybe not a lot, but if you go between 702 horsepower for the TRX, I'm gonna have Carrie come in here. I don't even have to tell you how much horsepower it has because Ford puts it right here. Let me get my shadow out of the scene right there. There it is, 775 horsepower. The horsepower literally doubles, almost completely doubles because of the supercharger that's under the hood, topping the 5-liter V8 that is on this truck. So let's talk a little bit about some of the interesting things that we've found here. Of course, I'll have Carrie come in as best as he can and show you the shocks and the suspension. Everything here is adjustable. There are quite a few adjustables. You have an adjustable sway bar, all kinds of stuff to help out because this truck is obviously off-road capable, just like the TRX is. Of course, it's not all-wheel drive. And of course, if you don't know the difference between four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, this is a four-wheel drive truck. All-wheel drive means that it's always four-wheel drive, or really all-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive means you have to put it into four-wheel drive. So let's take a look here at exactly what we have. You've got a lot of functionality here with the hood, the Ram Air hood right here, functional vents, and don't worry, we're going to open the hood and show you what's under there shortly. But I want to have Carrie come out here and show you something very interesting. I'm going to move over here. We're hopefully not hurting with the sun here, guys. I apologize. It's a bright sunny day, so we're trying to keep that out of the shot as much as possible. You've got the grill right here. You've got the lower grill here on the bumper. You also have a front splitter right here, something you don't normally hear about with a truck. That's usually reserved for supercar terminology, but you do have that here. But here's something that I thought was interesting. Right here, Carrie can come in on those. Those are not functional. That's just plastic that's there, more decorative than anything. But what I think is pretty cool is that even though there's pretty much no way that we can show you this, but you can reach inside the bumper and actually feel that right there. That would be really easy to pop out of there. And you could make those functional if you wanted to. That wouldn't really do much more than just basically maybe improve gas mileage a little bit. I don't know. Who talks about improving gas mileage when you have 775 horsepower? And right here, let's see here, trying to keep the shadows in the right place. Got the 22-inch Carroll Shelby wheels. I'm gonna have that Shelby logo right there in the center on that center cap. And the interesting thing here, in a day and age where obviously the black wheels are very popular, you don't see chrome wheels like you used to. In my personal opinion, and tell me down in the comments section what you think, I just think if you put chrome wheels on this truck, it would not work. All right, so obviously you've got the stripes here on this truck. Now, Carrie we were looking at the truck earlier. Carrie's my videographer. Thank you very much for your help with that. You've got the vinyl right here. All these stripes are vinyl. You know what the advantage to that is? Is that if you wanted to, you could take those off and kind of turn this truck into a bit of a sleeper and even take the stripes off the side. We'll go down and just show you real quick everything that's here. Of course, you've got, if you're wondering if it's an F-150 or a 250, which some people might, obviously it's a 150 because you can see that right there. Again, you've got the Super Snake logo. And then obviously everything right here. If you didn't want anybody to know what kind of horsepower you have under the hood of this truck, well, obviously you could take that off. That stripe right there. Tell me in the comments, what is your preference in that area? Now, of course, something you would expect at the price point where this truck falls. Let's open the door here. You're gonna have the power side steps here that are gonna come out when you open the door and of course go back in when you close it. Very, very convenient. And I like the fact, notice there's a delay there. That way, if for some reason somebody's trying to get in after the door's been closed or get back out real quick, then you know, you still have a little bit of time, not a big deal there. So let's do what is obviously, and before I do that, let me show you one thing here. Ford is the only one, Ford and Lincoln are the only ones doing this, I think. But you've got the keypad right here. And I'm gonna show you on the screen what the remote looks like. It has remote start and all the typical stuff you would expect to see. But even though you have these remotes, we'll have two that come with the truck, obviously, always make sure you program this. That's one advantage for you Ford owners that you have over other truck owners, is they don't have that. And the advantage to that, believe me, you want to program that first thing, because if you don't, what's going to happen is eventually one day you might leave a remote inside or something like that, and you need to get into the truck. You'll be glad you programmed that. Very easy to do through the infotainment screen. Now, obviously, let's take a quick look at what's under the hood of this truck, and we'll see what we can get for you as far as angles go. And I'll tell you what, if you were looking for a truck that has a good heavy hood, boy, that's definitely it. You've got the blue coated, powder coated supercharger right here. And obviously everything under here very well done. But something that I thought was very interesting, and again, Carrie pointed this out, so thanks, Carrie, but what we have under here, there's a lot of quick disconnects underneath here. Not that Ford owners themselves need to know about that necessarily, but that makes everything so much easier to disconnect as far as hoses and lines and all that kind of stuff. But as you can see, of course, we've got the functional vents here. We've got heat extractors, and there is a little bit of functionality here as far as letting air into the engine. In fact, you can see the inlet right here for the supercharger to let air in there through all the plumbing and everything like that. Now, I'm 5'10", so I can't quite reach. Well, I don't know, maybe I can. There we go, I can reach it. It's not as easy to get to the little area that you pull on here for this hood. There you go, you do have that, so I was wrong. I hadn't tried that yet. So let's continue on down here on our tour with the truck. Of course, you're going to have capless fuel fill right here. And if you're worried about that and thinking, oh man, that's going to make it easier for people to put stuff into my fuel tank, well, that's not as easy as you think, because there's actually 2 baffles in there, and you have to push down pretty far to get them both to open. So it's a lot harder to do that than people think. So don't let that bother you. Now, one thing that I really like here, I think this is something that should have been done just like it is. The letters. That actually is not vinyl. You can probably see that on the screen. I really like that fact. Okay, you also, with this truck, get the tonneau cover. Now that is removable. And of course, you can obviously raise that up. It's got the power assist on there with the struts. One of my favorite features obviously on the hood, and I like to have that here too because it's obviously very heavy. And here's something interesting. Of course, nothing new here. You have the power tailgate. Going to hit the button twice, not only to lower it, but you can hit that button again, of course, to raise it back up as well. But here's what I'm interested to know about as far as your feedback goes. You've got the carpet lining the interior of the bed here. That is removable, and I'll show you why I'm not going to demonstrate that when we finish up talking about the bed here. Obviously, that's removable if you want to take it out, but it's there. You know, just a little bit of maybe luxury for your bed for your F-150 Shelby Super Snake. And of course, you're still going to have the multitasking bed step right here that you can bring out if you're challenged on how to put that back in. Here's the numbers on there. But why do I say it's a multitasker? Well, because even if you have that up or down, in fact, we'll just go ahead and put that back in so you can kind of see these steps right there that you go to get that back in place. Why is it a multitasker? Well, because you don't just have to step on it. You can sit on it as well. It's just kind of perfect for that. I don't know. Just something I thought about that was very interesting. Now, here is why I did not try to demonstrate removing the carpet. It's got some very strong Velcro. It adheres very well. And when you try to take it off, if you ever do, I don't know how you're going to get it off, but here's what happens. You might have to have somebody holding that down when you're working with that to get it off of there. Okay guys, real quick, just wanted to share something with you. And I don't know how easily Carrie can show this, but here's something that's interesting. You don't have to slam this down. I just learned this. So when you bring it down to close it, you're just going to bring it down like that. And right up here is the locking mechanism. And you're just going to take that and turn it like that. Now it's turned. There is a lock on top. In fact, let me show you here what it comes with. You've got your remote, of course, but you also have the keys. That's for locking your lockable tonneau cover. And watch this. So it's open. I'm just going to open it like that. You don't have to slam it down. You just set it down in place. See if we can do this the right way. There we go. now it's closed and it's locked. Okay guys, let's talk about what you'll find here in the back seat. And the first thing I want Carrie to come and check out here, I'm gonna move the carpet or these floor mats up just a little bit. Notice there's no hump right here in the floor where there's a transmission tunnel. So that means that the person sitting in the middle seat here is gonna be a whole lot more comfortable, and there is a ton of room back here. But you're gonna notice, of course, you're gonna have the red contrast stitching, the stripe here. It's gonna be on the back of the seats on both sides, of course. Just that accent of what this truck is all about. I like that a lot. Of course, you even have, of course, the traditional cup holders right there with the armrest built in. And if you need more storage space and need to gain access to the tools to change a tire, which are going to be on that side, but you've got these little storage bins under here. Kind of nice to have that access back there. Of course, you can leave these up if you want to and increase your storage space in the rear that much more. So obviously a lot of space back here. And while Carrie's focusing in here, of course, you're going to have your dual air conditioning vents. You got dual zone climate control. It's not tri-zone because you can't control it from the rear back here. But obviously you've got functionality here, 12 volt. You're going to have the power outlet right there and USB ports as well. And of course you've got 3 seats back here. So the good news about that is that if you need a third USB, well, you can buy the adapter right there. So let's do a real world test here just so you can see. I'm gonna hop inside here and show you how much space I have. I mean, my feet are off the ground right there, off the floor, I should say, not off the ground. Could hear about that in the comments. That could be interesting. But a lot of space here. Your rear seat passengers are going to be very comfortable. And of course, got the panoramic sunroof. I'll get you a picture of that because it's gonna be hard to get that shot with the camera. But you've got the panoramic sunroof here. There's also a power shade if you want to close that, because obviously on a really hot day, I don't think that the driver and passengers here are going to want to have that experience. And of course, you got the cup holders right here, got that carbon fiber finish right there. And obviously just overall a very nice truck. The seating back here is very comfortable. Now, I don't know what the ride quality would be like because I'm not going to be able to sit back here during the test drive. So maybe some of you have experience with that, or your rear seat passengers can tell you. So pass that information on along in the comments section so we can share it with those who are watching the video. Okay guys, let's take a look in from the passenger side. Of course, you're going to have a little bit more here besides what we looked at in the rear. You've got the Shelby logo stitched into the seat back right there. And something that's very interesting here, and honestly a little bit disappointing, even though I realize it's a brand new truck, it's not broken in, but boy, Ford lets you know all about that. I don't know how good of a shot Carrie can get of that. I took a shot with my phone earlier just in case, but it lets you know that you need to kind of baby your truck when you first get it. And also, if you're wondering about fuel, that's the best thing to put premium in there, the 93 octane, and well, a little bit on the pricey side right now. It's kind of like owning a full-blown race car, depending on where you live. So as you can see from the angle where Carrie is, you've got the bottle holders right here, cup holders. There's plenty of space in there. And the good thing is that you have some additional space. You've got some little areas that can be pushed in. I don't know what the proper terminology for that is. I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comments. That's good to know. But as you can see, there's easy space to fit the bottles in there, just your conventional water bottle, or if you have a big gulp or something like that, well, that'll work too. And over here, of course, you're going to see a lot more of that carbon fiber trim, not only here around the front on the dashboard, around your upper and lower. I'm going to hit the button here. That's how you open the upper glove box right there. And then of course we're going to have the lower glove box as well. So a little bit of extra space right there if you need it, just to show you what's there. And of course you're going to have continued with that carbon fiber trim right down here. Not sure if that's real or not. I might have to find out about that. But we want to talk about the real business end of things. So I'm going to have Carrie change positions here, and we're going to talk about what experience the driver's going to have. Okay, as you would expect, you're going to have push button start. So let's fire up this high horsepower engine. And unfortunately, with the sticker right here, I can't rev anything or do anything like that, but just to show you what all is here, just so you can see and kind of see what's coming up on the infotainment screen with the somewhat animated Ford logo there and everything that comes up. And we'll get back to the infotainment screen here in just a second. Boy, I tell you what, there's one thing that I don't want. Did you see that? The heated seat was on. You don't need that today. Maybe a couple hours ago. But the good news is they're heated and ventilated, as you can see right there. In fact, I think I'm going to leave that on at a lower setting, or a mid setting. You do have dual zone climate control, as you can see right there. I mentioned that earlier in the video. Everything you would expect to see there. But let's take a look here at the dashboard, because that looks really good. I like what we have here. Of course, you can go through and make a lot of changes and everything as far as what the dashboard looks like and different things you can look at with the truck, and all that's going to be controlled by the steering wheel mounted controls right here. Something that's pretty easy to figure out. If you've never had this kind of technology before, guys, and you're getting into a truck like this for the first time after maybe owning the same truck for 20 or 30 years, don't be afraid of it. It's not hard to learn. Ford technology is pretty easy to figure out, and of course, tell me down in the comments what you might want to see me do a tutorial on if you need that. And of course, you're going to have your buttons across the top here. If you want to turn off that auto stop start feature, that's where that button is. And one thing that I like here is that, unlike in years gone by, a lot of vehicles you had to go into reverse to see the rear view camera. You don't have to do that here, and that's always a good thing. You can see you have a good clear view. So let's just go through the different views here that you have. And all I'm doing, you can see what I'm doing right there as far as how I'm making my selections as to what we can see. And by the way, these trucks do have the front camera washers on them. There's a really good view right there, depending on what you're doing, what you need to see in the rear. And of course, you've got the overhead view right there. That's nice. And of course, you're going to have, I'm going to go ahead and put it in reverse just so you can see. The view is nice and clear with all of the different camera views that are available there. I really like that. And of course, up here on the upper console, you're going to have the controls for not only the power shade that I talked about earlier for your panoramic sunroof, but of course right here, that is for the power rear window. And one thing about the view where we are right now, you can't see into the console as well, but I don't think people are as worried about that. But here's something interesting right here that I'll get Carrie to come in and show you the information on this truck. Of course, you've got Carroll Shelby's signature right there. Just kind of a nice little placard that gives you a little information about the truck and all that kind of stuff. You know what you have, the Shelby F-150, that kind of stuff right there. Of course, you're going to have connectivity and all of those good things. But the one thing that I've been looking forward to, well, semi-looking forward to, I'm usually looking forward to it a little bit more than I think I am today, and that's the test drive. Because obviously, we're going to have to be really careful. But let's get out on the road and drop the hammer a little bit and see what happens. All right, guys, we're getting out on the road for the test drive here, and I've never done a test drive in such a high performance vehicle where I thought, man, I've really got to be careful. But I can tell just cruising down the road, trying to keep the RPMs as low as possible, and the speed limit on this road is 65 miles an hour, so that makes it a little more challenging. Okay, we're not doing bad. We're at about 2,500 RPMs right now, but I wish I could drop the hammer, but unfortunately I cannot. But let's see here, let's get a little bit. Okay, you can hear the whine of the supercharger. I touched 4,000 RPMs. We didn't go over it, but just that. But there's no way I can go any higher than that. So I can tell you though, if anybody in the Shreveport-Bossier area, if maybe you buy this truck from Jimmy Grande Ford in Stonewall, and when it's broken in, let me know. Maybe we can do another video and kind of have a full-blown reaction video to see what this is really like to drop the hammer on. But I'll tell you what, this truck is a lot of fun to drive. It has a totally different manner than that of the Raptor. And I'll tell you what, that is a very interesting thing to compare. And what I think is even more interesting is that I didn't find any Easter eggs. If you've seen the videos on the TRX, you'll see the pictures, a couple of them in the interior. I'm waiting for some traffic to come by here, so we're holding on. but you'll see the picture of the T-Rex going after the Raptor. So it's a very interesting thing. I'm kind of surprised Ford didn't have some kind of a rebuttal to that. Maybe we'll see that in the future. I don't know. Again, trying to pussyfoot my way down the road here. Not my typical practice, but it's a necessity here. But this truck is a lot of fun to drive. I can feel that it has a ridiculous amount of horsepower, and if I was dropping the hammer, it would definitely push us back in the seats nice and hard. But I think it's really cool to hear the whine of that supercharger. And I mean, I barely touched it. I was barely at quarter throttle, and hopefully you were able to hear that earlier. We'll get a little bit more here. Well, we're going a little faster than I want to, but we're under 2,000 RPM. Maybe you can hear that. I'm about 3,500 RPM right there. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but you know, you can't really have a lot of fun on a test drive when you're in a vehicle that has a sticker that very blatantly tells you not to, is that the right word to use? Did I use the right word there? Okay, just so we don't get hit by the correction Nazis of YouTube. But it's very clear, I know I did it right that time, about the fact that you really have to be careful when you first buy this truck and keep your foot out of it. But still, I can say I drove a 775 horsepower truck. And that's a quick tour of the 2021 Ford Shelby F-150. Got to say a special thanks to my friends here at Jimmy Grande Ford for loaning me this truck for the day. And of course, to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out another of the videos that's right over here. And if you hadn't subscribed, you can do that right there too. And I'll see you there.